Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. Y'all, I'm in the wrong state, okay? I am so proud of Texas, okay? And the Republican states for really fighting against and working together to really fight against the migrant crisis. And the reason why, at first I was like, nah, I ain't worried about it. But the more I see these people, and something I had to think about yesterday, right? Because I was kind of disappointed that, I feel like for me, no level of income is going to be sufficient enough. And I really think that it's not really all my boss's fault. Like, it's not his fault, really. I had to really sit back and think about inflation, right? And how much, because I'm sitting here like, man, maybe inflation is really high. That's why it feels like, I want to be clear, I'm not necessarily living paycheck to paycheck, right? But it's like I would have to sacrifice what I want. Like, if I want to go, it's like this. I could save, but if I saved with what I but like with my regular everyday budget, I'd only be able to save like $100, right? If that, okay? Or maybe like 150. That's with my everyday expenses every month. Maybe 200 or 300, I would say at the max. Feel good because I have other bills, like I have other things I need to do. So for me, I'm really just experience in the workplace. Right? Inflation is super, super high. So just like employers are griping about how much they actually have to pay, because when you look at minimum wage is like an arm and a leg. That shit's like 17, $18 an hour, right? So the overall struggle, I think it's a real struggle overall of this hyperinflation nonsense, right? And again, I am grateful for my position, right? I'm grateful for everything that I have. I don't want to sound, again, that's more my, again, I recognize that my situation is more than like the average, but it does feel like they are really trying hard to eliminate and or eradicate the middle class, right? So a lot of my gripes about that is because I am middle class, and I'm like, what the hell? I feel like with the amount of income that I make total, I should be not, I'm not struggling, but it's like I'm one step away from probably struggling. Again, because of the field that I'm in, I have been able to mitigate a lot of hardship, I guess. I don't know. But it does feel like, how can I say this? And again, I can't, it feels like it's not enough. Like, no matter how much you make, it's never going to be enough. Um, and I want to talk about this migrant crisis because, again, I always look back to where I was 5 years ago, right? And if you're telling me that migrants would have been able to come in illegally, get all this housing, all this support, and honestly, this is where I'm at. Any fucking American helping these fucking people right now should be held accountable. Just like them people are held accountable January 6th. Any fucking American that's helping these fucking illegal immigrants, they deserve, like, that's treason. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of people who are selling themselves short by taking money and housing illegal people. Okay. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I don't see these people as being kind. I see them as being participants in destroying their own fucking country. right? If the government comes to you and they're like, hey, we'll grant you this amount of dollars to buy your building, to house these, you should be protesting. You should be telling them no, fuck you. What you don't understand is the fact that you have to take that money from the government says a lot about the condition of this country already. It is very disheartening when I see Americans that are so goddamn nice that don't know how to say fucking no. Okay, because I'm gonna tell you now, old school Americans knew how to stand up for themselves and had no problem speaking out and speaking up. We have a generation of folks that as long as you're paying me, I don't care what you do. And to me, that is a sellout. That is the same example of a sellout. I don't know if these people, when they're granting these buildings, are coming to these folks, hey, I'll buy this apartment building. There was one guy that was like, yeah, I have a vacant apartment building, and I've decided to open it up to these illegal people that are here, and they're illegal. These are aliens. These are people that are not welcomed here. Do you understand that? So this white man is on TV. They got him in the news, and he's like, yeah, I decided I was going to help these people out because I had a vacant apartment building. I guarantee you that's the same white man that's telling the everyday average citizen, no, you got to have 2 times the rent, 3 times the rent, right? You got a vacant apartment building, a vacant apartment. I just want to really reiterate that, because that means that building is not making any money. You mean to tell me there aren't a couple homeless people out there, people who are bouncing from home to home, sleeping on somebody's couch, but still working? All these people that are fucking living in their vans working. You couldn't have filled that apartment complex with Americans, but you're giving it to fucking migrants. Oh my God. And I'm so mad at Texas for sending all these fucking migrants out to these Democratic, like Texas ain't playing. Oh, y'all wanna support this shit? We sending these motherfuckers to y'all. That's where these migrants are coming from. It's nuts. I'm like, and I get the logic behind Texas, because it's like, listen, and Florida, because I know they've been doing some of that too. But I understand the logic in the sense that you support this shit, we don't. So we gonna send these fuckers to you so y'all can deal with it, and you and your city can deal with the shit, right? I get it. But what it sounds like is it's becoming way too much to even send, you know what I mean, elsewhere. We need to be shipping all these people. Oh, you want to come to America? Go to Alaska. Send them all to Alaska with nothing. They're not going to last for very long. They're still in America. Good luck with that. Like, why are we sending them to places like Colorado and California? Why? We need to be shipping them motherfuckers to the cold, to the mountains, and may the strongest survive. Like, if you really want to come over here, we need to be shipping these folks way out the way. I sound bad, but I am an American first. I don't give a damn about people and their feelings and their thoughts. I am an American. And I really don't like the fact that these people have never had to work for not shit in this country. Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I don't want to speak that on myself. I'm sitting here fighting for a goddamn raise, okay? And I can't even get that. But these migrants get a whole house. I'm sitting here in an apartment complex where I have to worry about my vehicle being stolen, but these motherfuckers get a whole house for free. But I got to go through the process of buying a house, make sure I have a down payment on a house. I got to make sure my credit is good enough to get a house. But these people can just walk across the border, get shipped in, be homeless for like a week or two. Now they got free housing. Explain it to me. That shit is some of the most disrespectful ass shit I have ever encountered in my fucking life. It's one thing with them coming over here and now they ain't got nothing. You don't know where they gonna go. They homeless, they struggling. That's one thing. And then them making it from the very bottom on their own because Last time I checked, all your blacks had to do that, all your browns had to do that, right? So why are we giving these folks a pass just because they're quote unquote migrants? And I mean, we're really giving them a free ride. We're not just because when I look at the average everyday college student, right? Do you like how is that not a slap in the face? You're struggling, you're in college, you're trying to achieve the American dream, you living off of food stamps. Some of these folks are having to become strippers and shit just to be able to pay for some shit. I'm not saying that's everybody, right? We got student loan debt out of the wazoo, but we got enough money to house some fucking migrants. We won't house the young generation, the generation that's having to stay with mommy and daddy, right? And again, there would have to be a vetting process for that too. But we're not just opening vacant apartment buildings for the average 27, 25, 30-year-old that's still living at home that works but cannot afford to rent. See, we're not doing that. I mean, because we've got a lot of issues in America amongst ourselves and our own people, right? But we are going to open it up for strangers, give them a whole house. Like that shit really doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't. I'm sorry. My heart is not that nice, right? Nice means you get walked all over. Kind is something completely different. And I am not nice in that capacity. I would have much rather helped out some of these veterans that are on the street, some of these older folks that really have worked their ass off but can no longer afford the rent, right? Than some fucking illegal immigrants that are coming to this country illegally. I'm not understanding why Americans don't correlate and understand that our choices help to speed our demise along. Every time you are so nice, you're to me that's fucking like I'm real talk. If you're fucking housing these fucking migrants and you're talking, oh, I'm giving back to the community, fuck you, bro. Fuck you. And I pray that at some point, and I have a feeling it may come, because you have all of these red states back in Texas, which they should, right? They're sending their military to the border as they should, because this is an invasion. If the government is not going to fucking do it, the states have to stand up. See, this is the beauty of states having their own power separate from the federal government. But see, so many things that we allowed to have happened allowed us to get to this point. And I remember someone else saying that the reason they're giving these folks housing, because remember, in order for the American military to turn against its own people, right? You have to have people who are not really American, because the average, again, and again, I don't know our military, but if I'm looking at I say 3 years ago, my dad's generation, let's put it that way, because I don't know what types of people they're recruiting into this military now, right? It's a little different. You got all types of people that are allowed to be in there that I don't feel like are strong enough to be in those positions. You need men. When I say men, I'm talking about old school fucking men that have no problem shooting a goddamn gun at anybody when it's time to. Real soldiers, not fucking, I don't know. Like, I don't want to get into my thoughts on that, but because I may say some things that may really offend some folks. So I'm going to just stay away from that conversation for now. But my dad's generation, the generations before them, those were true Americans, right? Meaning that if you were to start a war on this soil, them are the people that are going to bat for everybody in this country, and they have no problem doing it, right? My mentor, same thing, white male, he's from the Midwest, right? Dude had no problem. Let me tell you, when there were gunshots going off in the community, do you know that man stepped outside ready to shoot whoever was shooting and popping off? And according to him, that's normal in the Midwest. That is a normal behavior. That is how men should be. And in my opinion, that is how men should be. All this, I don't want to die. I don't want to lose my life. Motherfucker, you're going to lose it one way or the other. So you might as well lose it with dignity, right? I'm not understanding these men in this stage of life who don't really, they're so worried about dying. Like there was a time where men were prepared, like they knew that's what they, if they had to get down and dirty, that's what they was going to do. You didn't have these generations of men when we were dealing with the Tea Party and we had the Civil War. You mean to tell me them men were like, well, I don't want to die for somebody else, I don't really want to die because that's really got nothing to do with me. Do you not understand the differences in these men today? You see a woman getting harmed and your excuse is, oh, well, I don't want to jump in the middle of that because I don't want nothing to happen to me. What? Like men, y'all have changed. This was not how men thought back in the day. Like it is not the same. You get these gun the Call of Duties and the fucking Halos. You mean to tell me, like, I know they're just games, but they're games made like that for a reason. I don't see the Navy SEAL team saying, oh well, that's somebody else's problem, right? We don't want to deal with that because we don't want to die today. Like that is really how fucking men think today in the United States. It is bizarre. Cause I'm like, isn't this what y'all live for? Like I maybe that's just the programming, but I could have sworn men were tough. Like they didn't mind going to war if they had to, right? They don't mind defending those who they need to be defending if they have to. Like this idea that we're so afraid to die and we're not understanding that we're on the brink of death. Like I just don't get it. Our country is they're literally trying to cause a war by any means necessary. If it's a political, like they don't fucking care. Any angle that they can divide the American population, they are doing it. And I want to be, this is war. We are at war. We don't know who we're at war with. That is a fucking problem, right? And then in the midst of war, we're allowing all of these people who we don't really know is for Americans because half these folks don't like us. Let me be very clear. They want to live our lifestyle, but they don't like us. And it's only when they get over here in the weeds and all that and they start understanding, oh, our lifestyle ain't that easy to obtain, right? It appears that way. It's propaganda. We probably work some of the hardest, the longest hours just to live this American dream that they come over here and get for free. And I apologize for all my cursing, but y'all, I'm very passionate. Like I'm really upset. I'm heated behind this shit. And I'm like, so y'all Americans really ain't getting why this is a problem. Like every fucking white person, it's only white people. I want to reiterate that because I don't know. I'm gonna need some of y'all to check your own fucking people, bro. Like I'm not fucking getting that shit. It's only fucking white people. You don't hear black people saying, "Oh, well, we just had a vacant apartment, so we're gonna, allow our migrants to stay here." That's not a fucking black person issue. These are white people saying, "Yes, we are going to open our homes. We're going to donate our hard-earned money. We're going to do all these things for these migrants because I feel so fucking bad." These are fucking white folks doing this shit. And it's crazy when I say white folks, I want you to understand y'all are the face of this country, not anybody else. So you got white folks destroying their own fucking country. And it's very bizarre to me because there's clearly a distinction in the thought processes. So what kind of white people are they? Like, I'll be really wondering, like, you're Republicans, and maybe not all, but as far as the image in the front is, no, we stand with the Constitution no matter what. So anybody that diverts from the Constitution, where are they really from? These are the questions that I'd be really asking because it seems like our country has been divided from the inside out, not the other way around. It's almost like you got people whose agenda is intentionally to destroy this country. And whether some of these white people, what I don't understand is how you own a whole apartment complex, but your education will not allow you to understand that you helping these migrants is you participating in the shit that goes against the Constitution. Like, that's where my mind is like, what? How do you have all this money, but you don't know your actions are wrong? And when I say wrong, I understand that some people, oh, I'm just helping. Okay, well, there's Joe Blow Schmo living on your block on the street. If you want to help somebody so bad, you do know there's people all around the America that could use some help, right? You want to donate money to the migrants. Well, why not just donate some money to your neighbor just because? Like, I'm sure plenty of people in America that are actual Americans can benefit from a cash donation. I'm just saying. Like, if you really want to help somebody, why does our need to help somebody, like, why doesn't it work like at home? Like, why are we wanting to send money to Ukraine? Why are we wanting to help all these people around the world? But then when it comes to our own neighbors, black, brown, white alike, now we don't want to help nobody. Everybody, is for themselves. Like, I'm confused. Because I guarantee you, if one of these white folks that are donating to this migrant shit, right, said, all right, you know what? I'm going to donate about $2,000. I'm going to give it to families for Christmas. And I'm not talking about migrant families. I'm talking about you literally getting up, however that looks like. You either shopping, you doing cash donations, do it to every one of your neighbors, and or go to a low income neighborhood, but y'all won't do that, right? Go to a low income neighborhood and hand out a few gift cards for Christmas. Right? Like, that is real giving. This other shit we're giving to migrants, but it tells me that there's a level of classism and there's a hell of a lot of racism involved. Because all these rich white folk, you want to help out the fucking migrants that you don't know. You don't even know if they like you for real, for real. But like I said, you got people in low income communities struggling that could use your help and your assistance. But see, we're too bougie to come down off our high horse and go actually talk to the people in the low income because, oh, we think a certain type of way about those people. That's what it is. It ain't got nothing to do with, oh, I want to help because I'm nice. No, you got paid. Let's keep it a buck. And if the apartment complex was vacant, that means it's probably been vacant for quite some time. Meaning that he probably couldn't even find anybody to really rent them places out, which is a bigger problem in itself. But now the government says, I'll come in, I'll buy up all these apartments, we'll pay you a fat salary for these migrants to come in. That's like a deal with the devil. That's like selling your soul. That is exactly what that is. So I that's why I keep saying I probably need to move to Texas, boy, because Texas and pulled them big. Listen, I was a little nervous about Texas at first because I'm like, listen, y'all are over here allowing these folks to come in, and it was very snowflakey. You had a snowflakey kind of leadership. They were kind of Republican, but when it came to time to be Republican, you didn't know what side they were going to choose all the time, right? So for Texas to make this stance is bold. It is necessary. And I support Texas. And I am so glad. Again, this is going to be very interesting with the blue states, and all them states that are not populated on that map should be fucking ashamed of themselves. But again, Democrats, I want to be clear, when y'all are living in nothing and squander and you have absolutely nothing, it is your fault, right? You don't get to sit here and complain about shit. You don't get to complain about not a goddamn thing because you voted this shit in, you support it, you allow it. It's that simple. So when this man's grandchildren, right, living in poverty, I mean, for real poverty, because he made a deal with the devil, well, that's his fucking fault. And I don't feel bad. It is what it is. Because we should be advanced enough now to know right from right and wrong from wrong as it relates to the Constitution and what this country stands for. And if you don't like this country and you don't like the motto of the country, I mean, I guess what they're doing is destroying it. I mean, I guess that's the new motto now. Instead of go back to where you came from, it's, hey, let's just destroy the country we can't stand so much. That's what's happening. So yeah, it's time that the states step in as best as they can. And if that means sending the National Guard down to that border, why not? You're dealing with everyday people. If we got to shoot to kill, that's what we going to do. Because this shit is ridiculous. And it's sad. It's sad for them people running across and these grown ass men. This is my thing. I'm always a proponent for women and children. And there's a reason for that. Women are naturally physically weaker than men, right? But you got grown ass men coming to this country, fleeing their own country, not building their own countries, not fighting against the powers that be in their own countries. That is a problem that says a lot about how weak the men are in those countries. Because I don't understand why we're housing grown ass men. We won't do it for the people here. Why are we doing it for people outside of the... Explain it to me. Women and children is one thing, but a grown ass man that has the ability to lead but refuses to do so? Yeah, that's a problem on its own. That is a whole nother problem. That is not something Americans can fix. These people's countries ain't that fucking bad. And if they are that fucking bad, it's because they allowed it to get that bad. So again, why aren't the men fighting for their own goddamn countries? This is what is so baffling to me. The only men that are really men are the men at the top. And no offense, they playing games with everybody's lives. So I'm for the listen. I'm trying to tell you now, Texas might be one of the safest places to be when shit goes down. I keep saying that because of the amount of bravery, the amount of like man bravado. Like, I don't know what that is, but this is what men do. What Texas is saying they gonna do, and what all these other red states are saying they gonna do, that is what men do. All these blue states, like, I don't know what kind of men y'all got, but they ain't men. I don't know. So I shout out to the red states for finally starting to show that they won. Because I really feel like the red balances out the blue. Now, are they both the same wings of the same bird? Yes, but in this time, we kind of need a red. We kind of need these folks. Because these are the folks that are fighting for this country. Now, I get this idea that blacks, we're not really a part of this. We 3/4 human, what are we fighting for? Why are we going to fight for this country when this country ain't never did nothing for us? That is really the argument with blacks right now, right? This ain't got nothing to do with us. But all I'm thinking about for black people is you were born in this country, and so were your grandchildren and your babies and everything else. They are Americans, irregardless of what your thought processes are about how you feel about the country. This is still your country. It is not Africa. It is not anywhere but the United States if you were born here. So as much as you don't like it, right? As much as we've got our own troubles and hardships, the situation that's occurring with these migrants is so much bigger than you understand. So much fucking bigger. It is not about the fact that, the Constitution doesn't properly represent you as 3/4 of a human. Like, all that argument should not even be, it's irrelevant at this point. You have people invading on your fucking soil, because see, it doesn't take a fucking constitution to tell me that I'm an American too. You understand me? You were born here. You have just as much rights to anything here as everybody else. And you gonna allow some people from Venezuela to come take that shit from you? The fuck? But you gonna shoot your own next your own people, right? Because they don't rock with the same color you rock with. Black people, I'm telling y'all, it's so sad because I've always said this. In this time, blacks and whites should be coming together. And it's really not about politics anymore. It's about what the fuck is happening to our fucking country. Right? If you want to see this shit dismantle, cool, but just understand that the consequences of that are coming back on you too. So you can't be sitting here like, yeah, well, they're destroying America, cool, and not expect that shit to come down and bite you too. Because you part of this country just as much as anybody else is. It's interesting. What I will always say is when you're dealing with Mexican Americans, not all, but a lot, you mean it? I'm telling you, there's a lot of Mexican Americans that are not tolerant of this shit that they see happening at this border. But it's blacks that, again, because of there's so much division between whites and blacks. And a part of that is on blacks and a lot of that is on whites too. Right? There's so much division that black people don't feel like, even if we fought side by side with white people, that we're going to be treated fairly. If they put in their stake in this war, right, that y'all still going to be treating black people the same way after the fact. This is where black people have a huge disconnect. And I'm telling y'all now, I'm almost certain y'all need black people too. We listen. The entire country, if we had to take our worst of the worst, those are the ones that need to be going to war because they're already built for it. Not the ones on drugs. I'm talking about your gangsters, your gang members, the ones doing all these random, killings and all that. Those are the folks that need to be first in line for war. Because it's in their spirit. If I can go and do something like unalive 20 of my own people, then why couldn't I do that for the people at the border? They need to be sending all these prisoners, right? The ones that are violent, take them to the border, have them fight. This is where I'm at with this. Your homeless ain't fighting. I'm sorry, y'all, but them folks is so gone. You may get 1 or 2 or 3 out of 10 that are even mentally stable enough to go fight in a war, but shit, all them motherfuckers can go too. That's that's how I see it. Because it's about to be a war. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And it's sad, y'all. It's real sad that this country is sad. That's all I can say. It's really sad where we're at. It's sad that you've got in an administration. I'm gonna tell you now, Biden ain't calling these shots. We really don't know who is calling these shots from the top. It ain't Biden. And it's disheartening to know that, and again, who knows, it may be what Americans need. Like, who knows, maybe this is just history repeating itself, and maybe this is just us rising up again against the federal government in a time that it should be like that. It definitely should be like that. Like, you should have more people angry about this border situation than anything. So I got to tip my hats off to Texas and to all the red states that are joining in, because that tells me that there's a level of the population that understands at what detriment these people will cause us, right? If they were already pushing back, this is what I was telling someone the other day. They were pushing back about the cancellation of student loan debt, right? You can bet your bottom dollar what these Republicans are really doing. Anything that causes us to be in more debt, cost us more money, anything that does not allow our money to be going towards what it needs to be going towards in order to really help this country, they're not going for. This whole migrant shit, I guarantee you, it's because of the pockets. It's because of people's pockets. right? It's a money thing. So you mean to tell me my country is in trillions of dollars? I think we're now like in no, we're in trillions, I think. I was about to say zillions. Trillions of dollars of debt, but you allowing these people to come in illegally and now you giving them free housing and shit? Hell yeah. I mean, no offense, but that is a, as much as people don't want to see it because it's not necessarily coming directly out of your pocket. Yeah, that's gonna hurt some of these states in in this country. The fact that Denver said we're gonna pull 25 million, I'm not even thousand, not even 100,000, $25 million out of our savings to help these people. Listen, if y'all don't understand the mathematics behind it all, that is a problem. If you are black, you are Spanish, you are whatever, and you think that this country has treated you so badly, right? That you don't understand that your own children at this point, it's not really about how bad the country has treated you, but the future of your future generations. That is a problem. Right now, we should have, I'm telling you, you should have every gang. I don't even understand the purpose of a gang no more. All of these gangs should be down at that border, protecting the United States of America. Like, when do we say enough's enough? When it comes to this crisis, I'm telling you, it is not about black, white, brown, blue, nothing. It's about America first. So this is my take on it, y'all. I've been listening to this shit all night. I had it literally replaying because I was like, wait, what? I didn't know they was going to like, and they haven't gone to war yet. But I have a feeling that's where that's going, right? Especially if I know the Biden administration was talking about sending some Fed, like they're trying to. This administration pisses me off. They're really trying to covertly send funding, right, to the people to when I say covertly, it's federal funding. Okay. I want that to be clear. So if they send federal funding to Texas for support for the border and it's only going to militants and stuff like that, who do you think, like, at some point, because we helped to fund this shit, I would think that these officers or whoever they're funding at this point in time would become more federal than state because the feds are paying for it, right? So if I was Texas, this is just me personally, I would say fuck your funding. You've got enough backing from all of these red states, and I pray. See, the thing is, I think some of these, I could be wrong, but it's a prayer of mine that some of these blue states start to lean another way. So my prayer is that some of these blue states turn purple because of what we've seen. But I'm starting to realize you're dealing with a level of the population who's not very intelligent. They're not. So I'm hoping to see things turn a bit purple. Listen, in Denver, we have this guy. He's a Muslim guy, but you can tell he's from Africa, right? So in my mind, I'm like, and he over there passing out the little pamphlets of the Constitution, telling folks to be wary of who they vote for this election because it's such a big deal, which it is. I don't know that we're going to get that far, but if we do, okay, right? I was thinking to myself, and it was a chuckle to myself because I'm like, well, damn, if this fucking Muslim from Africa, and you could tell he's got the African dialect, so he's definitely from Africa, understands the Constitution and is telling folks, hey, you might want to read this before you go vote. And it was such a big deal that it was on the news, right? And I'm thinking to myself, it gave me a little hope because I'm like, well, shit, if this motherfucker's out there doing what the average white male American should be doing, right? Because again, y'all are the face of America, right? I'm not understanding this. I'm really not. And shout out to the white males who are fighting against this because you should be doing that as an American. This is your country, right? I'm not understanding why it took a black African male to get out there in his little, I mean, he literally looks Muslim. No shade to Muslims. I ain't got nothing wrong with that. But this is not your typical, what you would think is American male, which he probably is. That's why he's going around trying to educate people about the Constitution with his African dialect. But to me, I was like, that's what people need to be out there doing. The teachers aren't doing it. The schools are not doing it. They are not raising the. See, I grew up on the East Coast. So the American Constitution was fed into me because of where I grew up at, right? You grow up in the colony states. That's what I grew up in, the colony, the first, what do they call them? The original colonies, okay? Where the Liberty Bell was and all that jazz, right? So it's a different upbringing in the sense that we knew what the Constitution stood for. We knew the Liberty Bell, there's another one out there that I can't think of right now, but there's another one out there. It's another, is it the Bill of Rights? There you go. All right. That stuff was like embedded in us. We know, like I know all the states from A to Z in that order, right? And I can repeat them all back to you. Like that's how much the American culture was bred into me. And I really believe it's because of where I'm from, right? It has nothing to do with anything else. Because if I was raised in Colorado, that American culture, you're not teaching it like that. Just like my Black history was taught to me in depth, so was the American culture and the American Constitution. I don't even want to say culture, but it is a culture. The American culture, the American Constitution, right? I had the same, I guess it's kind of indoctrination. So I'm all for I'm for my people, but I'm also for my people. You understand me? I'm an American first and I'm Black second. Well, I'm Black first, I guess. I don't know, because I was both at the same time. So I'm Black and I'm an American first. I don't know, because I was born here. So I was both at the same exact time. So all I'm saying is we're in some interesting times. It's actually getting a bit, I don't want to use the word scary, but I say scary because the fact that these folks are already, you got to understand, states like Oklahoma have already sent the National Guard to Texas. You've got plenty of other states saying, look, we'll deploy our National Guard to Texas. And when I think of movies, right, and what we see in different movies like The Handmaid's Tale and all these movies that have been coming out, I have a feeling, and The Handmaid's Tale is a perfect example. The only difference was the war was at the Canadian border, not the southern border. This is about to be, because these folks, if they're sending their military out there, and Texas has said we had enough, it doesn't seem like there's much room for talking and negotiating anymore. Does that make sense? Like Texas felt like if I was Texas and they are there, we've been talking enough. We've been saying it enough. We've been negotiating with y'all enough and we've gotten no results. So if you're sending military and hopefully these are American citizens, you're sending them down there. I just don't know. Like I said, I can only imagine what that would look like. And then you got the biggest worry is not really the migrants. I don't see the migrants. Again, they're not the biggest threat in that way, right? I feel like our military can easily handle these migrants. I'm gonna be honest, because you're dealing with folks that are coming here with nothing. So it's easy to control you, right? As long as there's people in place to control them. What I have a concern with is the Mexican gangs, the MS-13s, right? The cartels, right? That is where I'm like, oh shit. Is this really a war we really want to embark on right now at just the state level? Because I have a feeling, and I don't want to say this, but I have a feeling that this migrant crisis, again, there is more to it than what we know. And I have a real good feeling, because you know our government is involved with a whole bunch of nonsense they ain't got no business being involved with. I have a feeling this ain't just going to be a war against Americans and some migrants. It's going to be bigger than that. So, y'all better strap on y'all seatbelts, because this ain't shit's about to go down. It's scary. But at the same time, I'm very proud of Texas. I'm very like I'm just like, I know I want to move to Texas. I'm nervous because again, I got to do it right. It's a new city. I don't know where I'm going. I may have to just drive down there a couple times, go visit a few places, because I can drive down there, right? It's easy to do. My daughter and I can go visit, set up a little, maybe do a week out there, set up a, do a hotel room or whatever, and us have a little events that we want to go do just to visit, because Texas is the one that's bold enough to say enough's enough. And I know that I live in Colorado. I don't have the power. The people who are against this shit, we don't have enough power to speak out and stand up like that. We just don't. And it's not that we're not vocal enough. It's the fact that our government here will overshadow any of that. Right? So shout out to Texas. Shout out to all these red states. It would be nice to see some of these blue states come together for this purpose only. Like, if you got any other issues, your thought processes about Trump, anything else, fuck all that. It's about your grandchildren, your children. Like, hello, we already the elder generation did my generation and the younger generations hella dirty, in the sense that we don't have the same opportunities as them older generations. Now, do we have opportunity? A hell of it, right? If you're looking at technology and AI and shit like that. But it could have been so much easier if people had stood up for what was right from the jump. And this is where Americans as a whole really need to be coming together. You, my brother, temporarily, when this shit's over, we can get back to fighting, but we've got an invasion at the border. It is what it is. Whether people like that word, you don't want to, it is what it is. We are at, and I don't care that these people are coming over here not necessarily with arms, armed, and all that. It's the principle. They're not allowed here without going through the proper channels. And when you allow this many people to come into this country, it changes the politics of the country, right? It's costing every American, whether they said it was $100 a day to feed and house these people. So that's for one migrant. It's like thousands, hundred, like it's a lot of these folks coming over here. And it's being done on purpose. So, I want to say Americans need to wake up, but I know Americans are not. It's not going to be enough of us to wake up. It's not enough of us that are intelligent enough to even understand what's really happening. And it's sad. Every time I see a white person, listen, I just want to go fuck them up, because I'm like, bro, how do you not know this is not just impacting us? It's impacting you too. You just don't see it yet. See, all these folks that are so-called wealthy, right? I don't know, man. I don't even know if they wealthy. I just think you have this, there's a phenotype of white people, and it's only y'all. It's not any other race. And I'm really saying that. It's no shade to y'all. I love the good white people. And I'm not saying that just because you're helping these folks out, you're not good people. But you really are not thinking. You want to help, you want to give. Like, what is it with white people and wanting to give? Like, I guess, like, and y'all want to give to the most. You won't adopt black children here, but you'll adopt black children from Africa. Like, I just, realistically, I don't fucking get the need to want to help all these other people but your own people here. Like, and it's only white people. And you don't see Mexicans, well, some of them, right? Especially if they work for these government entities, that's different, right? Black people work for the government entities, that's different. I'm talking about your everyday ass white people and black people. Y'all do know black people own apartment complexes too, but I don't see them giving away their whole complex to these fucking migrants. You know what I mean? Like, it's only white people. When you hear about I was on Reddit one day, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say before I close. I was on Reddit and I remember this girl, I told y'all this story where the girl was like, yeah, so one of my friends works for this nonprofit and they were able to house this migrant family. And when she came to bring used kitchen supplies to these people, they turned her away because they don't want no used kitchen supplies. Whatever. And the lady went home crying. And y'all know my response was a good for her. Glad she woke up and realized, why are you helping these folks? You could be helping Susie Q down the street that needs your help. You could be helping Jamal down the street that may need your help. You could be helping LaQuisha down the street that needs your help. But you gonna go help some people you don't even know. You really don't know if they think like you, if they agree with your American ways or not. They even like you as an American, right? They like you right now because they're getting all this free shit. You don't know what they stand for, what their morals and values are, but you gonna go give these people free shit, and now you crying because they don't want your free shit. Like, stupid. I wouldn't even been helping. The fuck? I'd have had to, if I was working for a nonprofit that told me they was helping these migrants, I would quit. I would quit. I would quit. I would have no other option but to quit because that goes against my morals, my values, and my principles. So we need to wake up, y'all. But I'm glad that these red states are standing behind Texas. And that tells me that there is a bigger divide than what we understand. If these red states, it's a lot of them, if they're saying, you know what, fuck this government, the federal government, we're going to stand by Texas because we agree, we stand by our Constitution. It's a lot of red states that are saying that. You mean to tell me that this doesn't set the precedent for how red states are going to be moving in the future? I mean, they should be doing that already because the blue states have been doing that, right? Thus, further dividing the country. But now you're really drawing that line. Like the red states are drawing that line. So when we talk about a civil war, and y'all see that movie, the Civil War, the trailer, it almost makes me wonder. Remember when the guy was like, well, what American? Because he was like, well, we're Americans. Remember, the guy was like, well, I'm just like you, because he's trying to not get shot, right? And he's like, well, whoa, 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 like, we're Americans. You're American, we're American. And then the militia, and keep in mind, in the trailer, the guy looks evil when he says, well, what kind of American are you? And then he spits out his tobacco. Now I'm understanding what the fuck that actually meant. The person that's spitting out that tobacco, you can bet your bottom dollar is a Republican. And the one like with his family in the car and he got on jeans and I think he had like a button-up shirt or something. Like, I don't know, but he looked like your typical everyday man that I be telling y'all. I don't understand how y'all call yourselves men, but y'all so scared to go to war or die. Like, that's crazy to me. That shit is backwards to me. I always thought when you think of G.I. Joe, like, apparently that's not every man. I thought it was. I didn't have many kins with my Barbie set, but I knew who G.I. Joe was. You understand me? So I don't know, but there's a lot of kins, and clearly when you're dealing, it's a clear different dynamic between G.I. Joe and kin. And we got a lot of kins. A lot of kins, my nigga. Like a lot of kins. And then when you're looking at that trailer in the Civil War movie, right? Hence, what is it? Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, right? You could see the difference in the two types of men. One male is in a militia suit, the other one is in regular, like you could tell he just got off of work, he came home and his shit's fucked up, right? So the one man is telling him, wait, 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 I'm Americans too. And the other one is like, yeah, but which American are you? Let me tell y'all something that's deep. So it times are changing, shit's about to pop off. And I know as an American citizen, no matter what my disagreements are, no matter what my gripes are in terms of race, in terms of class, in terms of any of that, right? I really believe that I handle what I need to handle, which is these people that are coming in here. Then me and my people, we can deal with all that extra shit after, right? It's like if you're in a household, right, and you got a family that you guys all share one house or whatever, or y'all are close or whatever. It's like I can talk about my own people, but you can't. You see what I'm saying? I can fight amongst my own people, but if it ever came down to an outsider, we all against you. That's the mentality that America should be having right now. And what they would tell you, me doing this live and saying what I'm saying, I would be considered a quote unquote sellout, right? Because I believe in fighting for the country I was born in, right? It ain't got nothing to do with me not liking the politics, me disagreeing with the politics. It has everything to do with the fact that I do not want to live like how them folks live in China. It has everything to do with the fact that I do not want to live how them folks live in Saudi Arabia, Dubai. I do not want to live like that. I really do like the American way. I think I think that if I had to get used to wearing a hijab on my head, I would be miserable. If I was reduced down to nothing, I would be miserable. Like I am not for half of these politics in these other countries. I can do with ours. We just need to make it better. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know where America goes from here, but it's clear division. The line has been drawn in the sand, and you can see that it's not the gender war. It's not any of that. It's this migrant crisis. The rest of that, I feel like, will piggyback off of this, right? Because you're already dealing with Republican states that are saying we don't believe in abortion, right? This situation right here encourages red states to start drawing the line further and further and further, meaning that you're going to begin to see a clear distinction between red states and blue states. And it's going to be the way it's looking right now. The line has been drawn politically. It's not even like all this other shit we fighting about. That's irrelevant at this time because that's not what's starting quote unquote wars. When your red states say, you know what, fuck this, we had enough. And not just with politics. Now we're sending physical militia, like we're sending military out. Yeah, y'all can bet your bottom dollar things have shifted. It's definitely changed. We are not in the same America. We are now officially the concept of a civil war has gotten that much more realer. So shout out to Texas, right? My daddy just moved to Texas. I might be moving to Texas now because I'm like, shit, I like Texas. To be honest, you guys, I have always loved Texas since I went. There's nothing bad I have to say about Texas outside of the fact that I had cedar allergies, right? I developed allergies for the first time in my whole life. So I think I'm really beginning to feel like that might, I don't know about the Midwest. I was told to go to the Midwest, that my personality would fit better in the Midwest, but it's a lot of, I don't know how many black people are really in the Midwest like that. Like that's, I know Texas has its sundown states too, but Texas is more, you got way more black people, I think, there than you do in some of these Midwest states, right? And I ain't trying to die because a racist just sees I'm black and wants to hang me today, which I know could happen in Texas too. But I feel like if I don't have to settle for like low income poverty areas for black people. You move to Houston, I'm sure there's plenty of areas for black people to go thrive and do good, right? I'm just, that's my assumption. San Antonio, right? Certain places, I just feel like blacks have the ability to thrive. I'm not moving to Cleveland, Ohio. It ain't happening. You know what I mean? So I don't know enough about the Midwest. I know Ozarks, I know racist ass white people, and I know poor blacks. That's it. So I don't know about me moving to the Midwest, but I know for a fact Texas is something I could consider. So shout out to Texas, shout out to the red states for supporting Texas, and really helping us protect our borders. Because even though I unfortunately live in a blue state, right? Um, I really, I'm probably more red than I am blue. So people that don't have the ability to fight back against shit like this, we're grateful for y'all. Just know that. So that's all I got to say on the matter, y'all. I'm out. Peace.